Yo, yo, what it is, YouTube? Let's suck some troll energy. Feels so good. You know how weird it is to have that power, to know you make a video and people you don't even know come running? Like, it's the craziest thing. And can you, like, seriously, these people, like, some of them, it's nuts. Like, this is what they do. Like, they spend their time on YouTube watching people that they hate and they just talk shit to. They hide behind a computer because they don't say this stuff in real life. So they hide behind a computer. Like, that's what they do. Isn't it crazy? Because I know it's hard as it is for me to even believe. They do have at least one family member, whether it's a grandma or somebody, because they have to live with somebody, because the majority of them definitely ain't making it on their own. And if they are, it's because they're being paid by, the powers that be to do what they're doing. But they go out with their friends or their family smiling like, yeah, they act like they're normal, and they go downstairs in their basement and they just comment and say just terrible things and then claim to be enlightened. Oh, it's like, that's a life, man. Like, just by the hypocritical, it's just a fraudulent life. And it's just sad, but I love them. I do, because it's fun for everyone. All right. So just call it a hunch just for fun. That's all it is. Because this is pretty wild shit. I'm guessing, just taking a hunch, like I said, a little fun guess, throwing out there, just me speculating. Uh, I'm looking at 923 maybe this year, or maybe it's next year, one of the two. For the but I'll show you why I think it's this year. But I'm you know what? I'm not gonna say next year. I'm gonna say this year, September 23rd, 2019, or the 22nd, 25th. It's like that weird 3-day thing, or maybe not even those. Just sometime between late August and definitely not past like the end of September. I'm looking for a big like CME solar flare shot, and not like the, well, maybe I don't think kill shot. That don't seem right. Just something more that causes enough trouble for sure. And Brazil being the hardest hit though, mainly Brazil. I think everyone will feel it, but I think Brazil will suffer the most. And just call that a hunch with the rest of this. But just how I feel. So we have all this stuff, right? Because we have lots of predictive programming and strange things. And an even stranger thing that I just found out a few weeks ago. Like the TV show Stranger Things, yeah. So the left will make 2019 a dark year. The Economist 2019, a very black year awaits us. 2019 will be a dark year for America, right? And then here are the actual Economist covers. First they had this one, so clearly dark, right? Blackout. And then this one they put out later, and here's the moon, clearly representing, nighttime, dark. So that kind of is interesting in itself. Plus you have, the countless drills and the warnings about the electrical grid and all of this, correct? And didn't we just move something like into Cheyenne Mountain because of an EMP or something that could knock out the electrical grid or whatever? So even to say that, the government themselves, the military industrial complex, all that, they're preparing for this stuff themselves. So it's not like this is just an unheard of, absolutely off the wall concept. I think the $1 trillion debts and deficits and saying the economy is strong is more of a unheard of, off the wall concept. But of course, we're in a world where people go along with an elite pedophile ring doing everything. So, whatever. So we have this, right? A solar storm of 1859. This was like the biggest. See, everybody knows this about this, right? The biggest like CME, solar flare, whatever, geomagnetic storm, all that shit happened. Knocked out Telegraph. Said it would have caused, if it was in modern times, would have caused basically all hell on the electrical grids globally. Just would have caused all sorts of problems. And then again, it happened in 1989. A real nasty one happened and affected Quebec. The geomagnetic storm caused a 9-hour outage of Hydro-Quebec's electricity transmission system. And then, on top, again, how it's not unheard of, we had a solar flare that was just as powerful as the Carrington event in 2012. July 23rd, 723, as a matter of fact. And the only reason why it didn't kill us is because it missed us. And it said right here, had the CME hit the Earth, it is likely that it would have inflicted serious damage to electronic systems on a global scale, because this one was so powerful, the strength of the eruption was comparable to the Carrington event, the 1859 Carrington event, right? And that was just 7 years ago. So it happened first in 1859. It happened 130 years later in 1989. Another powerful enough one. I'm just saying the ones that actually were bad enough that it caused all sorts of problems. And then 23 years later, we get this one that would have knocked us out, but we were just lucky enough to have it miss us. So I think the next one will be 7 years, 2019, just because 1859, 1989, and I think the next one that gets us will be in 2019. It'll end in a 9. This was just the warning shot. So 130 years apart from here to here, 23 years apart from here to here, and then 7 years apart, in my opinion, to the next one, because this one happened in July 7/23. So I'm just wondering if that 9/23 date has anything to do with this. And another thing, this happened, this solar storm, the event occurred at a time of high sunspot activity. So high sunspot activity, and then this is actually a dual. They said this was a dual ejection. It was 2 CMEs, like 10 to 15 minutes apart. And it was at a time of high sunspot activity. Well, if you go now to the sun, a month without sunspots, there are 28 days in February. This year, all 28 of them were spotless. The sun had no sunspots for the entire month. The last time let me scroll this up here. The last time a full calendar month passed without a sunspot was August 2008. This is a real crazy time for us anyway, because of all the cosmic rays that are intensifying and getting worse and worse year after year. This is when there's an uptick in that during these solar minimums that we're in now. And this one, they say, is just as bad, if not worse, than the one that was in 2008 and 9. And so my point in all this is this stuff happened at a time of high sunspot activity. It's almost like it's charging up, maybe. We'll see. And the strange thing about all this shit, man, oh, you know what? I forgot to, let me just pull this up real quick because it won't take long, just to show you, because I forgot to get this pulled up for you. This is kind of where, oops. This is kind of where it all came from. It's so wild. All right, so here's this movie I watched a couple nights ago. Sorry to Bother You. In an alternate, it's, by the way, it's wild. It seems like a comedy, but it really quickly turns into like a horror movie because it's reality. In an alternate present-day version of Oakland, telemarketer Cassius Green discovers a magical key to professional success, propelling him into a universe of greed. So basically the whole movie is about telemarketing, a telemarketer. All right. So here's the script. Sun exploding tonight. Before the sun explodes. 2 different points in this movie, they talk about the sun exploding. This is a movie, as I just told you, it's about telemarketing. But somehow, there's some weird, strange reference about the sun exploding. Changing the world. We are a part of something important, changing the world before the sun explodes. So I think that paired with this dark year and all this stuff and the strange timing of how all these are spread apart, and then you got this, like the sun maybe charging up and stuff. This has happened countless times before anyway in history, regardless. Yeah, it's just kind of my hunch, and we'll see. So I appreciate everybody for coming by, specifically the trolls. I got a new album coming out real soon this month, in a few weeks. Performed last night, went great. Everybody loved it. So I really appreciate the energy that you're giving me, because it is turning some, it's just making beautiful light with it. All right, so I'll see you guys in the next video, right? Don't let me down now. All right, you got to be there because I'm telling you to be there. And you know what happens if you don't listen? It makes you crazy. Then you get even worse in your life, even more negative. And then you come crawling back to me anyway because you just can't live without me. That's how it is. I think it's adorable and sweet.